podcast. I'm Isiah from Roll Fitness. I'm here with my co-host and homie, Bo 303 Solutions.
Hi.
This is where we talk about training, fitness, hard skills, and everything in between. We just want to make things easier for you on the training path and learn from our mistakes.
Because we made a lot of them.
Oh, yes.
100%.
Yeah, every time. I just made one. Thanks for listening, and let's get into it. Very first episode, Bo. How you feeling, bro?
Good, nervous,
Right.
anxious. I have all the feelings.
I got
all of them.
I got all the feels too, and my forehead's glossing. It's out there.
It's a little shiny. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah,
Hey, it's all good though. Just don't look at it, man. You know what I mean?
just towel off.
Right, it's the first episode. I'm gonna learn. You know,
I'm gonna ask you some hard questions today.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm gonna. As soon as I start to see you sweating more, I'm gonna call you out. 100%.
Should I-
Like it's happening.
Oh, I'm perspiring already.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
You know
No,
what
I can tell.
And I had no energy drinks today. I'm like sweating through this. I wore black so you couldn't see the sweat.
Just all juiced up.
Yeah, right.
All right. So just kind of a quick brief. Podcast 1, right? We're just going to be talking about Isiah and I, right? Because we're really big into self-promotion and getting on social media and talking about ourselves,
Right.
Which is totally me being facetious, just in case anybody can't tell
We're really
the tones
conceited.
of facetiousness. So we're kind of going through just about what we're doing, right? About what we're about. So starting out, Isiah, what is the story behind our podcast name?
Well, roll because someone over here likes doing jiu-jitsu all the time, stuff like that. It was only trying to threaten people with putting them on some pretzel locks. Look, I've been caught in a calf cutter. I ain't trying to do that again, all right? So roll because homeboy likes doing jiu-jitsu, all right? Aim because we both like to shoot. You know, he's a range instructor. I was a former DM sniper, and I did okay shooting with my old PD and stuff like that. And then lift, you know, I think you can tell from the video, hopefully, that we both like lifting, you know, and that's personally my favorite thing to do is lifting since I can't do a lot of things I used to be able to do now. So,
Yeah, 100%. It's not just jiu-jitsu. It's probably a little bit more catch wrestling because sometimes it makes jiu-jitsu guys upset. But all right, cool. So tell me about yourself, man. For those new people checking in, right? Some of those that don't know us or know you the way that I do.
Well, Puerto Rican and black. I'm just playing with you. I was a former athlete. Played some of my pro basketball out here in Texas. Then lost all my scholarships, so that's why I went and came out here into the military. Did a combat engineer stuff for a couple of years. Got hurt again. I guess I was pretty good at getting hurt at least. And then after I did that, I went out and did law enforcement over in Richmond, California. Rich what? Supposed to say Richmond. God.
Yeah, I know that. From 100% from Texas. Yeah. Like born and raised South Texas.
All right. It's all right. Same thing.
I was waiting for you to say something else. I was sitting here like in anticipation, like always going to say something else.
No. You got Richmond, Texas. You got here too, though. But now then did 15 years in law enforcement. During that time, I was a K-9, SWAT, gang unit, street team. I think my favorite all time was being a RTO, like the recruit training officer and training new cops. Oh my God, wearing that brownie hat, just coming in, legit, bro.
Yeah.
Put the fear in everybody. What about you, Bo?
So I was born down in Kennedy, right? Well, it's a real big town, South Texas. Lived there until I was like 3 or 4. So I remember all of those things super vividly, right?
How do you remember? I can't even remember last week.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday.
Yeah,
I didn't eat breakfast yesterday. That's what it was.
I write it down.
And then we moved to San Antonio shortly after that, right? So I grew up in San Antonio, went to school out in this area, all that good stuff. Been in here in Texas for the most part. Played some high school football, and then went to college for 2 years. Got a whole half semester's worth of credits.
Nice.
Because I spent a lot of time at the beach, not in the classroom.
In Texas?
Doing what I was supposed to do. Yeah, down in Corpus.
They got a beach out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I got you. I got you.
It's Third Coast.
Is there sand?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of sand.
I'm a Cali guy, so you can't talk about beaches.
It's 100% a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And then I got a family that owns like a bunch of church's chickens, all that good stuff, and we went to go work for them. I did the college thing, like waiting tables and, silly goose jobs. And then started selling Yardbird, Church's Chicken. Did that for, I don't know, probably. I know you're getting excited, like salivating.
Right?
Did
And the biscuits.
yeah. I got a good little sneak peek for the biscuits. I got some little tips and tricks.
Oh, I'll take it.
So worked at churches for a while. So those like the biscuits that they have at churches. So what we would do is you have like the icing that you put on top of it, right? And what we would do when they would get done is we would take the icing and like inject it in the biscuit, right? And just fill it up. So it was like on like one of those cream-filled donuts, but it was full of like the biscuit icing.
Nice.
Bro, best dessert ever.
See, this whole time
Or you
I
just
thought,
eat it.
This whole time I thought it was butter and it's frosting.
Oh, yeah. 100. Yeah, it's icing.
No wonder mine never comes out like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and why I'm type 2 diabetic. Just kidding, I'm not type 2 diabetic.
For all of you out
We
there.
could probably edit that out.
It's staying. It's stayed in there.
Worked at churches, and then my dad was a cop, 32, 34 years, something like that. Retired when he was, 2014, in that ballpark time frame. And then I went to the academy in 10, started copping in 2011, worked in some small rural counties, and then worked for the school district for a little bit in San Antonio. And then, now I'm here where I'm at.
Nice. I can't even. My father was in the military, but he left when we were 7. I remember driving back from North Carolina in a Nissan Pulsar in my underwear. I think it was like a dinosaur underwear. I was like 7 though, but it was a long drive. He like straight booted us out. I was like, get out. I was like, dang.
Straight chonies,
Yeah,
too.
I couldn't even get exactly. I don't even think I had shoes on. Can you imagine driving back all the way from North Carolina to California in a Nissan Pulsar with your mom with your little chonies on? I'm bound to have like, come on, if I'm sleeping and I'm 7, so I'm growing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them dreams definitely came up, you know what I mean?
Literally.
Right. And now we're off track already.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it'll be like having a conversation with like a golden retriever with us.
I think so.
Go off on these like ridiculous tangents. Yeah, 100%.
Squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, oh, what were we talking about? Oh, crap. Good thing I had things written down
Oh, I
to
know.
at least keep us a little bit organized. Right?
Did we answer like a couple of them already though?
No, I don't. Maybe. I
Wait,
don't know yet.
what's the next one? Because
So, all right. So this is a good one. So what's something that might surprise our listeners?
wow. So I was thinking about that on the way over here, right?
Yeah.
And I had immediately one answer. I answered it earlier with Star Wars. Like I love Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like the Mandalorian and Stormtroopers. Like if you look at my
Yeah, super nerd.
yeah, right. I gotta, it is what it is. But like you look at my Star Roll High Roll Fitness logo. It has the Mandalorian, but it has the MVGs on there and stuff like that. It doesn't show anything fitness, but I don't know.
Yeah, it just looks cool.
nerded. Yeah,
It looks
It was
cool.
totally
That's all
awesome.
there is to it.
This is the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then talking to the one time, and she was like, you got to tell me about bacon shows.
About what?
Bacon shows, bro. Come on, don't tell me you don't ever watch like the bacon shows.
Yes.
Like ultimate.
I know what you're talking about.
like the
I've
cookie
seen them.
challenge, and
Yes.
then they're legit, bro.
It's like is it cake?
Oh yes,
Like one of those?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
those. I don't care if it's steak or cake or whatever. Like I'm still eating it, bro. That stuff looks good. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like you got this guy who's been trekking around. I just came home from like wrestling gangsters and homicide suspects, and I come down. I'm watching like
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart and Snoop
Just
Dogg.
kicking
You know
back
what I mean?
and
Yeah,
watching Martha Stewart.
right. Calming down and stuff
So
like
today
that.
we're going to be making sugar cookies, and this is how you make them with love.
Yep, but it's
that?
every time. Like I'd be like, oh, one time you got to make that. You know what I mean? And never comes out the way that they say it, like it is on TV.
No, they
and
make
stuff.
it, bro. They make it look so easy.
I do. Even the kids.
Oh, the kids are the worst.
Right.
That makes me. Yeah, it makes me mad. 100%. Like this, I remember. Like I'm 38 years old, bro, and like I can make some
That's it?
grilled cheese, and I can do some eggs,
Yeah.
and like there's like a very narrow window of things that I can make.
Right.
And these like 10-year-olds are just crushing it, making like souffle or just like bougie like 5-star meals,
Yep.
and bro.
I can't even
Blows my
get the
mind.
measurements down. So they'd be like, oh, it's like 3/4 of a cup on this and blah, blah, blah. I was like, my kids love when I grill.
Yeah.
Right? because they just think it tastes a whole lot better.
Yeah.
But the funny part about it is I set it up to where like one time cooks and I tell her like, look, this has got to be healthy. You can't be putting all this stuff in there. I want the natural, the good fats, and that's it. But when I cook, I'm throwing like bacon grease on there and all that kind of stuff. So that's why they're like, oh yeah, Dad knows how to cook way better than Mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely feel you on that one.
Yeah.
And I'm scared to ask you this same questions because I've seen you in like some chonies.
The short shorts.
Pushing fire trucks and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we're gonna go there.
All right. So, man, I was thinking about this too, right? When I was putting these shenanigans together, which is 100% like what's going on. I'm a huge boy band fan.
Oh no, like NSYNC?
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98. Like I had a 98 Degrees CD
No way.
from back in the day, like when they were like super hot, like Nick Lachey and all, like they were just crushing it, right? Yep. And the thing that like reignited it the other day, it's always been like they pop up on rotation, you know, when I'm listening to music or whatever, working out, doing my thing, and I'll be listening to like the grind music and just, you know, metal or like rap or just, you know, getting after it, and then like everybody will come back on. And I'm like, oh, this is it.
Right?
Now this is the vibe now. Like,
Right.
All right, Backstreet Boys radio. Boop.
Backstreet
Here we go.
back. All right.
It was I think the movie's called This Is the End with I don't know, like Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen and all those dudes. And then, you know, they did the Backstreet Boys, everybody. And then Deadpool Wolverine,
Yep.
when that came out, and the intro was Bye Bye Bye.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is it.
Yep.
Like that's the vibe.
You're like, I'm in love.
100%, bro. Like,
Did you bust out with the t-shirt too? You like had it underneath your jacket?
no, I don't have any t-shirts, unfortunately.
We got to make one.
Now, I do have a pink Mean Girls t-shirt, right, with the girls from Mean Girls, and it says it's like Wednesdays we wear pink or whatever their day was, right? So it says that. But yeah, like massive movie nerd, right? Which is, you know, who doesn't like movies?
Yeah.
Like we're in America, like,
Right.
Everyone likes movies. But yeah, I'm a massive boy band fan.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I think I liked one song by Justin Timberlake. It was like Soda Pop.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was actually pretty legit. And I actually had that on like never ending playback.
Just
you know?
just on repeat.
Yeah,
Just repeat this one
straight
song.
repeat.
Yeah.
But like working out, I'll listen to Prince. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't know if it's the assless chaps or something like that. Whoops. I don't know if it's the chaps or you know what I mean? I got the look.
Oh.
Next question.
Yeah, no, massive boy band fan. Yeah, 100%. All right, so a little bit more serious question, right? So, what's been the biggest learning experience that you've had lately, right? Through training, through whether it's like, you know, the fitness aspect or the shooting aspect or, you know, hard skills development, like whatever. Like, what's the biggest takeaway, even if it's, you know, in the professional space?
I think it has to do with the fitness, you know, but it ties into the job that we do.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the statistics of police officers dying within 5 years after they retire in this. But I've learned through this space is the adrenal dumps that you get it during
At a regular rate.
like multiple times. You know what I mean? You hear that tone, do 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 do. You're like, automatically raised up. Then you can see how it affects some people too. But seeing how the adrenals affects our hormones and how it just creates havoc on our body afterwards, and what extensive research and everything we have to do just to get back into it. And with the new studies of male testosterone being lower due to adrenal levels, you know, it's something that has been fabbed as taboo in the past, saying, oh, TRT or testosterone replacement is bad for you, you'll die, you'll have a heart attack, and it's, you know, you're cheating or whatever like that. You still got to do the work.
Yeah.
But they're starting to learn that, you know, low testosterone is linked to like testicular cancer and cancers in males. So it's a vital part of us to actually keep our testosterone levels up. And you could do it through lifting, you could do it through natural supplements, but it can only come up so many points. But, you know, I would definitely look into, especially if you're looking to retire, finding a hobby.
Yeah,
you know?
making sure your stuff's right.
Yeah, and don't completely slow down, but get some blood work and find a good dietitian or somebody or a workout specialist who knows how, or hormone specialist, I should say, that knows how to counteract these things.
Yeah, kind of keep track of it.
You feel me?
Yeah, that was super smart. Like that goes back to like my nerd statement earlier. Like, I feel like the thing that I've been like, I don't want to say like learned, but like I guess it's been for me in the learning space, kind of like some self-awareness and recognition, right? So,
right.
And I know you're the same way in the aspect of like wanting to be like a high producer, right?
Yeah.
Trying to be, you know, at your job, right? You know, like a peak performer on patrol,
Exactly.
and it's like, hey, I want to go over to this like specialized unit, right? Because those dudes are getting after it, right? And I know like I'm super competitive. I know you're super competitive, and getting to that point, like where I've tried, right? Learning to
falling forward,
like stop comparing myself to like somebody else's standard, right? Because I'm sure that, you know, like we both recognize like there are things that people do really well and there's things that they suck at, right? And I think the thing that I've been focusing on and learning the most from lately is like my own individual progression, whether it's through like the fitness aspect or whether it's through the shooting aspect or, you know, the combative space, like in the hard skills, you know, how I implement those, like instead of looking at like the group of, you know, like, oh, where do I fall in with the BJJ guys? Where do I fall, you know, in the shooting space? Like, don't get me wrong, like I still want to win, right? I still want to be the best, but making sure that like I'm putting in the work to at least get better, right? Incrementally in those things that I'm trying to like develop, right? Whether it's the fitness space, right? I want to get a little bit stronger. Okay, the strength is starting to plateau, right? Maybe the speeds is something I need to focus on. Same thing with like the shooting stuff. Like as long as I'm making progress, the only person that like I'm really, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the the person that I'm trying to compete with is myself, as opposed to like gauging my progress or performance against other people.
For sure.
And that's been something that I've been trying to super implement and focus on is like my individual progression, you know, whether it's for myself or for my team, right? Because if I don't show up better than I did the day before, that hurts you, right? That hurts who I'm going to back up. That hurts the community. That hurts those people that like, if I just decide like, hey, this is good enough. Because like really like what's good enough, right? So that's kind of been my focus is like, hey, I have to get better, even if it's like 0.5% better.
100.
0.5% is better than 0 or negative, right? And even if I'm like plateauing, like I'm still pushing to get that progression. So that's kind of long explanation of what I've been learning.
No, I love it. I get it 100%. I think I got two things for that. Is David Goggins talks about unfair standards when he first got to the SEALs, and he's like, I'm in shape, why aren't, and you've seen other SEALs that's out of shape. And he talks about how it got him so upset that they weren't on his level, and he learned that he's like, you know, I can't hold somebody else to my own standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I mean, I think we're pretty well rounded. I think we both suffer from I think they call it imposter syndrome. Where, like you said, we compare ourselves to somebody else and be like, man, he got way more, you know, or his delts look way better than mine, or the way he talks is way better than I do, and you know what I mean? It's
he's shooting 13 splits, and I'm only shooting 16s, and it's like, well, both those are pretty impressive,
right? And here I am just throwing bullets, you know what I mean?
Just making educated wishes,
right?
Before you want them to go.
Where are you aiming at? My sights are off, I promise.
I had my eyes closed. I need an adult. Yeah, 100%.
But that's what we do, though. You know what I mean? It's what gets us through. You have to be, especially when you want to be better, because not everybody has our standards. So you have to come out and be 10 times as better because you have to make up for somebody else as well. You know what I mean? It's like if that one person's not willing to push it in the gym or take care of himself and have the self-respect for themselves, when you step out of that vehicle and that guy has that one thought of, oh, I'm going to take that person on, you want to eliminate it as soon as you get out of the car.
Yeah.
If you step out the car, your badge is good, your uniform's put together, you ain't got no mustard stains on you, fit, you got your biceps rippling and stuff like that. That guy ain't going to, you know what I mean? He ain't going to want to.
It definitely has like
you.
that like command presence aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that worrying about that like comparing aspect, and this is like super tangent, but since we're on it, we're just gonna full send it.
Full send.
Like I said, like the individual progression is really like what I've been trying to focus on lately. It's super hard. Like you got all the social media stuff where it's like, oh man, check out this,
right.
7-second reel of my 0.4 draw stroke.
Right.
And then this like, 1.5 or 1.6 bill drill. And I'm like, oh man, like I could never shoot that fast. Right. But it's one of those things like the thing that I appreciate it that I'm trying to like recognize is like seeing what's possible in like the shooting aspect or even on the lifting aspect or, the jiu-jitsu aspect.
Yeah.
Or the catch wrestling or combative space. Like it's attainable because like we're all human, right? Yeah. There are some things that people have like qualities for that make them, maybe they have that like natural ability that like someone else might not have, but like that progress of, pushing yourself to like try to raise the standard, right? Yeah. And I think that's my big deal is like, I don't ever want to be a liability,
exactly,
right? In the professional space, even in the personal space, right? If I'm not able to handle myself, then I'm absolutely not an asset.
Yeah.
And so my big thing is like making sure that I'm constantly an asset, whether it's like, hey, I need you to do this lesson plan, right? Cool, check, got it. And going to be an asset, not like, oh, how do I do this, right? Like you give me the task, like I'm going to try to get it done.
Exactly.
So anyways,
we could be like my boy Soto, man. He broke his finger and he became like an excellent shooter just because he had no tension. Everything was just like smooth. Yeah, it was. So everybody was like, can I break my finger?
Hey, give me that hammer.
Right?
Let's try it. Let's for science, of course.
Dude, so there's a later story. Like, so when we first went to Iraq, there was a rumor going around saying if you get wounded, your kids get to go to school for free. So I was always joking around. I was like, oh, yeah, first firefight, I'm going to stick my leg out the door and I'm going to get shot in the leg or something like that.
That sounds terrible.
So, yeah. At the time, it was pretty
good. Yeah. 19-year-old brain, great idea.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Then we were coming up to a checkpoint, an Iraqi checkpoint, and I seen an Iraqi get shot, and I was like, not doing that.
Change your mind real quick.
Right? Yeah. It did.
You're like,
never mind.
Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. So this is a two-parter. How did you get started in the training space?
Ooh, I got started because I kept getting hurt. I kept getting hurt. The people were just trying to give me pills. It wasn't really fixing me. I knew I was better than that, and I didn't want to just take the pill. So I didn't want to keep taking someone else's word for this is what'll
work.
This is how you get better. And then I just slowly, gradually started studying and learning on my own. And especially, luckily for me, I've had a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? So
I like how you framed that very positively.
Right?
Yeah.
No injuries growing up in sports or anything like that until I got into law enforcement in the military. Then that's when they all started coming. You would think I was clumsy. You know what I mean? Like falling off of buffaloes and breaking backs and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
No. There are a lot of buffaloes in California. a lot of buffaloes in Iraq.
Hey, I've been chased by a camel.
That sounds terrifying.
It was pretty. So they told us it's $5,000 if you kill a camel in Kuwait, right? So we're out there. We're doing like we call them like lanes or whatever like that before you go out. And there's a camel herder, and he's like tick 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 tick, getting them all go over and stuff like that. So I don't know why one of the camel just went rogue. His tongue was all fluffing out and coming towards us.
It's like a rabid,
right? So
rabid camel.
My homeboy's on top of the Humvee. I'm trying to get in the Humvee, and for some reason the door's not opening. I was probably stressing, bro. Like legit freaking out.
Adrenaline dump.
Yeah, oh yeah. I didn't have no rounds on me or anything like that too. So I jump on top of the Humvee, and it's like barely enough room for one of us because this is one of those like truck ones. And I was like, hey, bro, one of us got to go. So we're like tug of war on top of it and like push him off. And then it's like, God, that's messed up. Why you do that? I was like, hey, bro, survival, bro.
Get out of the way. I need help.
Did that answer the question?
So, God, so getting injured, right? Kind of figuring out the best way to like recover from those things.
Yeah, and progress. Not even just get
And
back to that.
so that's kind of what brought you into right the fitness space of being like super good at what you do.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, right? And I'm no professional, right? I'm just a beneficiary of the results. Because you program my workouts and crushing it. Like it's fantastic.
I usually just throw darts at the wall and
Just make an educated wish.
pretty much.
Yeah, I'm 100% using Deadpool references too. Yeah, I was doing that in a pistol class the other day, and I was like, all right, so we're talking about predictive and reactive shooting and blah blah blah, and so talking about the predictive shooting piece, and I was like, all right, so we're getting into the predictive shooting, right? We watch our sights leave, right? Target focus, and then like understanding where our natural index is, and like when that sight starts to drop, connect back to our vision, right? I'm not getting reactive shooting is where like dot leaves, dot returns, dot leaves, dot returns to that single secular, focal point of vision. And predictive shooting is like I'm making an educated wish where the round's going to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And everybody looked at me with this blank stare. And I'm like,
Deadpool, really?
and like nobody enjoys entertainment. Is that for real?
Nah.
And they were like, oh, yeah, I did see that movie. And I'm like,
No, they
come on,
didn't.
bro. You ain't see that movie. Don't lie to me.
Yep.
So, anyways.
They just wanted a higher score.
Kissing up. All right. So, what keeps you passionate and motivated about the training?
Oh, man, that's a stumper. What keeps me passionate about it is I love to do it, and I love to see the rewards from my clients getting better.
Yeah.
I like hearing your stories. I like hearing the other client stories, like, Diego, when he came back, he's like, hey, I can't get over like 190 pounds, and we got him to 220 pounds on the bench press.
Yeah.
And it was just one phase of training, and still form was a little bit off. But if we fix the form, we probably get 225 easy. But it's just that little, that little nugget that you guys give me. That's like, oh, that's pretty legit, and I feel good. Or like a guy with the frozen shoulder, he's like, oh, I haven't been able to lift my shoulder over my head in years, and you have him do a couple of internal, external rotations and overhead and pushing it to the limit, and it loosened everything up, and got his scapular strengthened, get his serratus is going and stuff like that, and he's like, oh my God, I can move my arm again.
Like, oh,
right?
This is awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what you got to say about this one though.
So the thing that kind of got me started in the training space, right? It's I started copping in 11. My dad was a firearms instructor, right? And so like I kind of was always like proxy in it in the space.
Can somebody look up what proxy is? Thank you.
So I was kind of in the space, right? My dad was training these other dudes, and he'd throw me little, snippets and bones every now and again. And it was probably more than every now and again, but like me being, dumb 22, 23-year-old, even at 18, 19, like 16, like growing up, like, you can't be a prophet in your own town.
For sure.
Right? It's like my dad would give me all this like sound, solid advice that now I'm like, damn, I wish I'd listened to that. Like
right
off the jump. Like I'd be potentially at like point, Z, right, in the shooting process, right? Not to say that there's like an end, but further along in my progress. Same thing with like the combative space. I started doing Sambo which is it's a Russian mixed martial art, kind of, grappling. It's like the best way to describe it is like a mix of like Greco-style wrestling, a little bit of judo, probably a little bit more similar to judo, but there's a lot of strikes and stuff like that implemented into it. So Sambo's fantastic. So I started that in probably like 13, did it for a couple years, 12, because I was with my previous agency. Started doing that, and I was like, oh, this is super beneficial, right? Got into a couple uses of force where I was able to use a throw or use things to like establish control.
Get that reap throw.
And then it kind of tapered off, right? And I was like, oh, I know enough.
Right.
And like the whole certificate mentality, which is something that,
You know what you should do?
Has started to drive me crazy.
You should try out what I do. Judo know, and I wish I would.
So I started with that, and then the shooting was always like a big part of it, but it was one of those things like you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And then I got a little bit more involved after I became a firearms instructor with kind of developing lesson plans or doing, you know, what I thought was good, just kind of repeating like the dogmatic stuff that had been just kind of reciprocated and repeated over, you know, a decade or two of law enforcement. Like, this is how you do it. This is the way. And then started shooting a little bit of USPSA competitions, showed up a couple times and then, you know, dropped back off. 'Cause like, oh, I'm not good at this. So, you know, me veering away from the thing that I don't like and that's uncomfortable, you know, kind of went back into my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then probably like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, had a use of force. Not necessarily didn't go bad, didn't go great. Like, it worked out, right? Mm-hmm. Objective, reasonable, all that good stuff, doing the things I was supposed to be doing. But I didn't have like a level of articulation for why it worked, right? Yeah. And so started listening to like the Jocko podcast, right? Shout out Jocko.
No affiliation.
No affiliate. But he was talking about jiu-jitsu and like just the clarity and the explanation for like how it transitions from like that subjective lizard brain, right, of an emotional response into like being a little bit more objective, and it opens up your vision, your eyes, and you can kind of see a lot more things that are going on. I was like, oh, maybe this jiu-jitsu, maybe there's something to this, right? So I got linked up. I had a dude that was from, I can't remember what agency in California, maybe like Sacramento. He was Sacramento PD. Came to work for us, and he was already a blue belt. And so like we would kind of roll around and, you know, get a little bit of training in. He introduced me to Cliff Byerly from Hill Country Combatives, who's out in Kerrville. And so we went over there, and Cliff was like, hey, you know, anytime y'all want, like, I'm an hour away, like,
just roll.
Just let me know, like, let's train. And I was like, I remember telling him this like the first time we met, because apparently, like, you know, he gives that invite to a lot of people. You know, some people come back and some people don't. And I was like, careful what you wish for, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is super legit. Like the level of articulation that I have, and just the small percent that like that I super like I took back in, like I was in love. Like this is it, right? It's the catch wrestling, kind of mixed with jiu-jitsu. Like it was awesome.
So is that love that you have right there? Is that what keeps you going?
Oh, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah, it's you know, and again to like the learning piece, like the constant progression, because like with the combative space and with the shooting, right, there's never like an obtainable end goal, right? With the combatives, there's always different things that you can learn, right? And it's a constant evolution of the concepts and principles, as opposed to being like technique focused. And the big thing for me as like an instructor is like I feel like I have some knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Know a few things. I haven't been doing it, you know, 10, 15 plus years like Cliff or some of the other guys that I train with. But I try to soak up as much of that knowledge as I can. And then like my big thing is like being able to pass that information on, right? And then watch dudes apply it, mm-hmm. right? For example, I was doing a red dot transition training for a local agency. And one of the guys was shooting, you know, pretty proficiently. He's also part of our SWAT team. And his shooting was, you know, about average, right, with the rest of the team. And he went through the transition class. I gave him a bunch of dry stuff to do, because we'd run it live and then we'd run it dry. Then we'd run it live and we'd run a couple different drills. And I was like, hey, look, like we can do all these things live. You don't need to go to the range, or you can do all these things dry. You don't need to go to the range and do ABC, right? You don't need to spend all this money and time
it's just
going
boring.
to the range and, you know, just blowing ammo.
It's just boring.
And then you can do this stuff dry,
yep.
right, to overdevelop those hard skills. And we did a recent training where we're doing, you know, similar firearms things, you know, working on the speed and accuracy piece. And, bro, he crushed it.
Good.
Crushed it. And
it's
I was
amazing
like,
what dry firing will do.
Oh, and I was like, someone's been dry firing. And he was like, yeah.
Is that something that you would tell, like, someone who's just starting out?
Bro, if you ain't dry firing, you're wrong. Like, that's all there is to it.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, man.
If you ain't dry firing, you're wrong, right? Because you can, the cool thing with all the technology and all the information that's out there, like you can get a ton of feedback from the gun, right? Just in dry fire with shooting hand input or support hand input, building that constant like good reference and index, right? It's kind of hard to, the thing I like about dry firing is it's just you and the clock, right?
Yeah.
It's just time. That's really all it is. Like 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, you can get a ton of reps in. Whereas like makes it a little bit more complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the combatives in jiu-jitsu, right? I mean, they make the 3D dummies and all that stuff, but it's just sitting there with his arms out and legs out, like, do your stuff, right? It's kind of harder to get those reps in, but I mean, you can get through some of that, but there's a lot more feedback you can get with doing the dry fire.
Oh yeah.
Because you're, with the combative space, like you're really reliant upon the other person, right?
Dude, you love this way too much, bro.
So I know, yeah.
You love it way too much.
And but it's cool to see like the information transfer and the progress. Like that's what keeps me passionate about it. And then like seeing my own individual like development, right? Whether it's through the, belt promotions and like for me, like it's less about the belt. Like the belt's cool, like a cool recognition. But it's more of like, hey, I'm progressing, right? Seeing that development, and like having that like time and space, like essentially slow down, like when you're doing it on the job, right? For a use of force application or whatever. It's like, I can get a lot more data processing done and objectively assess what the situation needs to be dictated.
I think that's a perfect like transition into the next question is if you could give one piece of advice to someone starting out their training journey, what would it be?
Oh, so the big thing for me, right, is like check your ego.
Oh yeah.
Like the ego is massive.
100.
Like it is like it can be absolutely crippling.
It's a killer.
Yeah. Whether it's like in the lifting space, like you see at the gym all the time, right? Somebody comes in and they're a big, strong dude. And so they grab the 50-pound, 70-pound dumbbells and they start doing curls and they're like, and they're shouldering it up and just kind of swinging the weight, not really like isolating muscle groups. And
Not getting the full ROM.
For sure. And then you see, dudes like, oh, I need to bench 315 or, 405 and just sloppy throwing weight around. Then they get injured and all this stuff. Same thing at the range. Like, I meet the department qualification. I meet my LTC standard. Like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, in the shooting space, like there's two things. There's speed and accuracy. Like those are the two things that I can objectively measure. You can always be faster and you can always be more accurate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? You can do those things individually, but like I can't leave one of those things on the table.
Yep.
So checking your ego and being like, oh, good enough, like in my opinion, like it's never good enough.
Right.
The big thing for starting out, whether it's in the training space, is like being comfortable, right? And then get comfortable being uncomfortable and check your ego.
Oh, yeah. That's the hard part is checking the ego. I guess for tactical, that's perfect. I don't even think we need to touch on that one because, most people want to argue about for 45 minutes, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. And it's like, hey, let's run it. Let's see which way works better. You know what I mean? That's that whole ego thing. But I guess for the fitness side of it, for me, would be the 180 change. It's like everybody thinks they have to drop and change their whole life just to get in fit. You know what I mean? Don't change your life completely. You got to do something that's sustainable. Yeah. So don't drop a diet and do this popular paleo or keto or the carnivore diet or something like that. Because as soon as you get done with that diet and you don't reverse diet, all that fat's going to come back and it's going to come back twice as bad. So what I would say is build the body from within, build the muscle from underneath, get a good handle on your nutrition. And then once you get your nutrition down, then you can go into your little caloric deficit phase. And then you can cut and then you melt that fat away and reveal everything. But do it healthy so you can sustain it. I think that's the best way to go about doing it.
Yeah. And I think just to kind of like cap on both of those things, right? Like do what you can do when you can do it, right? As opposed to being like, I'm going to work out. There are 2 hours every single day, right? Because you miss one of those days and you're like, oh, I missed it. Yeah. Now I can't do it again or I'll wait till Monday, right? I've 100% done that with like, the fad diets or whatever. Cause like I'll be like, I try to be a little bit more carnivore and it's mainly just like eat less carbs. Right? Yeah. Cause I love carbs. Like just before this, like I had a whole cup full of, Reese's covered animal crackers. I mean, it is what it is, right? I like me some treats.
It looked good.
And I would eat them all of the time. Right. But like not letting yourself do that, right? But setting like, even in the combatives, firearms, fitness spaces, like set an achievable goal.
Yeah.
Because what I think a lot of people do is they'll set this like really high goal, which is not a problem. Like I'm all about high standards. But if you set it that's unreachable,
Yeah.
then you're just going to feel like a failure, right?
Oh.
So I set like a small goal, like, hey, I'm going to try to go to the gym, or I'm going to go to the gym 2 times this week.
Yeah.
Check.
Yep.
Right? Even if it's Monday, Tuesday. All right, hey, I meet my goal. If I go more, that's extra.
Yeah.
But if I don't, like 2 days is achievable, right? In whatever time frame you have. And that's just a rough example.
But that's what I do too. So a lot of people, especially when these New Year's resolution, they come in, it's like, oh, I'm gonna work 5 days a week. I was like, no, we're gonna start off with 1.
Yeah.
We'll start off with 2, and then we'll work there. Or like, I'll do like an active recovery day for them and stuff like their mobility, so that they think they're working more, but they're really not. So to keep the volume down. But I'm really pumped about this, Bo. I think we put out some nuggets out there. I think I only slipped up twice, so it's fun with me. I think we got Rick Goodrich next week, talking about some abductions, or
some of his experience, and his stories.
Right.
I love Rick.
We got to get him. We got to get him to say his nickname though.
Oh, okay.
We got to get that's our number one goal.
Okay.
Get him to say it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And we're going to get him to organically say it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll give him the questions, right? So he can like kind of game it a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll have like ours with like, all right, this is how I think we can get him to say.
Let's give him fake questions so he studies those.
Oh, yes.
Hit him
Just
with a
pull a
good
little
one.
switcheroo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's
No, I
do
like
it.
that better. Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, that's it for today of this episode's Roll Aim Lift podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot. Join us next week for our episode with Rick Goodrich. Thank y'all for listening. And before we say goodbye, remember, guys, the day chooses you.